Hi everybody, you're here with Kay Wilson and Bobby Lennox. We are on Lennox of Lomond. As you can tell, we are here with the beautiful Loch Lomond in our backdrop. So we'll just be starting in a couple minutes. Once a few of you jump on, we'll just start a couple minutes early. We've got 2 minutes and then we'll start. But meanwhile, you've got this beautiful backdrop. And this time we're getting to start. I was about to say when it's not raining, there's a few spits there actually have just got me, but last time we were on last week we got a huge downpour of rain that we had to run under shelter, so this is nice to have the sun in our face. Just going to pop the comments on and say hi to everybody. Hi folks, thanks for joining. Hi from Massachusetts. Hi David from Preston. James Law, nice to see you. Over in Abbymore, thanks for joining. Hi Janet, I knew you wouldn't miss us again. You've made every tour. Great to have you. Hi Fiona McGilvery from Clackmannanshire. Alan McIntosh from Arbroath. Hiya. We feel a little bit less under stress this week. I don't know if you watched us last week. We had Landward were filming here with JJ Chalmers, and there was a lot of running around and trying to keep calm and try and manage to do the whole tour. See, Dad just had a phone call from, it sounds like, our shepherd, so there's obviously something exciting happening in the lambing shed over by. So unless you missed it, we've actually got two farms. We are Shantron and Shemore Farm on Loch Lomond side. My parents, Bobby and Anne, they live at Shantron Farm, and that's where I grew up, along with my sister Jill and brother Alan. And my husband and I moved over to Shemore in 2011, the farm, and we became full-time really in the last kind of 5 or so years, kind of getting more involved with the farm. And this year, Dougie quit his job in January 2020 to come do full-time barn building, but that maybe wasn't the best time to quit his job, but we've managed fine, and the barns are up and running, as you see if you go onto our website and Facebook page. So I'll just check a wee time clock for everybody. We are at 1 o'clock, so welcome. So I'll just reintroduce myself. I am Kay Wilson and I'm here with my father Bobby Lennox. And you are with us on the west side of Loch Lomond. So for people that maybe don't know, that's just 30 minutes north of Glasgow. And I'm going to flick the camera around so I can show you a bit better. It's a bit easier when I can point at it. Right across the way, through those two little islands there, that is the direction of Stirling. So we're about 45 minutes from Stirling. Hi Eileen Gunn, you are in Stirling, that's our cousin, hi there. And then we've got these beautiful hills, so a lot of folk come and stay with us. They do like to do a lot of the hills in the area. So we've got this beautiful little hill here, and that's called the Conic, and that actually is part of the fault boundary line, the fault line. So you can see the kind of the hump, and then it comes down into the other islands. Every time I point it seems to unfocus, so I'll just not point. So you can see there's a wee island, that's Inch Caillich. Then you've got Torrinch, Creeinch, and then you've got Inchmurrin, which is the long island, and that together onto the mainland is the Highland Fault line, and we are technically in the Highlands, and if you drive past that by the Arden roundabout in Tabalach, you are then officially in the Lowlands. And you can kind of see the difference between the landscapes when we flick round. Here's the start of that's our smallest hill, and you can just see through the trees. We're going to give you a much better view very soon, and we're going to take a wee drive round the corner and you hopefully get up to the Glen a bit better. And that's our Glen. So we've got 5,000 acres of hill, and at the highest point it goes up to 2,000 feet. Our family have been here since the 1750s, which makes us pretty unique, and it's been quite an interesting thing, and it's really nice to be able to continue that. And I'm now the 11th generation to farm here. So in front of us here you have these beautiful lovely lambs. They all came running after us because we're still giving them a wee bit of extra feeding at the moment, and they all came running after the bike, but they've now just realised that they've been fed and they're now going to go back and happily sunbathe and enjoy that. So you can just as well, behind there, you can see, I'll try and zoom in, that is one of our cottages. That's Shemore Cottage, and that's what I was frantically doing before we came over. I've got folk coming in early today at 1. And then through the trees over here, you can just catch the roof. If I can zoom it in, you can see 2 of the barns just through the trees. But you can pop on. I'm no doubt if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, you'll get lots of pictures of our barns. So we are nearly at the end of our lambing now. We are, how many days left, Dad?
Oh, another 5 or 6 days. We'll only got about 60 to 70 sheep left to lamb out the 1100 that started 17 days ago.
Yeah, so it's been quite an intense time, as you can imagine if you've been following along to the Go Rural page. I'm just going to spin around so you can see us a little bit better. You've been following the Go Rural pages, so you can see how much work and care goes into it from all the family farms. So it takes quite a lot out of you, but it's one of our favourite time of year, and it's so nice that we can get to share it with you all on live tours. But we actually started our, we operate farm tours, and we actually started our lambing experience tours, which is so nice to get them up and running again. We missed doing them last year, and we run kind of an hour-long sessions this year. We had to make it slightly different this year due to COVID, and we've just kept it as family groups, which has worked out really well. And then we've had a few extra people have phoned up and booked private tours for themselves at other days that weren't maybe advertised, so that's been really great. So Dad's going to give you a little bit of information maybe about the sheep here at the farm. I'm going to spin back round.
Right, the sheep here are Scottish Blackface Sheep. They're bred, they're hardy sheep for living out on the hills behind us. So they're out there all year round. The only time they're down in these grass fields are for 3 weeks over lambing time, and they come in for 3 weeks at mating time in November and December. The fields down below us, we use that for the sheep that have twins, and making a bit of silage and that sort of thing. But most of the sheep live out on the hill all year round. And when we get a little bit further up through into the next field, I'll tell you a little bit about how we manage a hill and how the sheep live up there.
That's fine. Well, that might be a good time to just jump on the bike and we'll go and do that across there. And then we're going to head to the lambing shed, so you can come and see the ladies that are left to lamb, and some of our individual lambs that are in the pens with the mums. And I think we still have a couple of our pet lambs there, so we'll get a wee close up with them. So just bear with us while we get ourselves on the bike and we move over. Dad, you can pop my helmet on, I think. I had to change my hairstyle and everything for this to put the helmet on. Things you worry about, eh? Just fetching, aren't they? I had to run back for this as well. I'd got myself all ready with everything and realised I'd left the helmet, so here we go. Not fall off, that would be good, wouldn't it? I'll just pop you around so you don't have to look at my face. Have we had a good lambing, James Law? Yeah, we have actually. We've had a couple of maybe fatalities that Monday with that ice and snow here. We didn't get a lot of lying snow, but it was the wind chill and the coldness that got the sheep. We had a few pet lambs and lambs in at the sorry, bringing you closer. We had a few lambs that we had to bring into the inside, well, the kids were delighted. We had them in front of the stove in the house in a wee cardboard box, and we managed to get them returned to their mother the next day, which was really good. And then we maybe lost a couple, but I think from what I'm hearing with a lot of our friends in the farming industry, there was a huge losses for some people, and it's really, really quite sad. But these are just these things that we have to try and muddle through, and we're very resilient as farmers, because you know, it's probably one of the one industries that you could try and make a kind of financial budget for the year, and something will happen and it completely gets thrown out the water. I'm just reading some questions here. 2 seconds. No, we didn't get the snow yesterday. I think our friends in the Edinburgh area got hit pretty bad with it. We just had a bit of cloud and rain. Look at this behind me. They're just chancing it. They're going to come and follow us just in case we decide to feed them. I'll just pop you around here and I'm going to flick the camera. There you are. So this is part of one of the hills leading out. This is called the Shantron Hill. And these old dry stone dikes. Now these have been here for over 200 years. And we still go out and fix them in the same traditional method. It's usually because the deer have maybe knocked them down. It's one of these maintenance jobs that we just have to keep doing, but you don't always have time to. As we say, we've got 5,000 acres and there's a lot of fencing up the back of the hill. We've got dikes and bits and pieces. Obviously you've got to maintain your buildings and staff and things, and a lot of the fences were put in at the same time, so we've got quite a lot of straining posts and staff to do over the next few months, but again, just haven't had time because it's been awfully busy. And you guys didn't come in the last time, so they're still hopeful. We don't like to muddle the sheep up too much by coming through them very often, and but they're old enough now, these guys. There's pretty much everything has lambed now up here. How many sheep and how many acres do we have? We have 1,100 Blackface sheep and we have 5,000 acres of hill. We're tenant farmers and we've been tenant farmers since the 1750s. It's awfully windy. I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you let me know if it's the wind's getting in the way of it, let me know please, and I'll try and help cover it. Give me a wee thumbs up if sound's okay. Okay. So I'm going to spin you around. Beautiful scenery. Thank you, Veronica. We are absolutely blessed to live here. And here is a view of the Glen. So basically it's a really nice glen. There's a reservoir at the back of the farm and it's about a half an hour walk from the barns. Thank you, Lynn, for letting me know you can hear me. Great, thank you. So it's a half an hour walk, so it's a really nice stroll. It's actually a tarmac road and it's really easy, a nice walk to get up there. Okay, so you want to say something here, Dad? Hold on, I'm going to pass the mic over just so you can hear him nice and clear. We'll just hide it. Sorry, there you are. There you are, you're now on with Dad.
This farm's probably quite different from most of the farms you've seen in Lambathon, in that most of our farm is up in the hills and the mountains where the sheep live. Now, most folk with sheep in the low grounds can go out in half an hour, gathering the sheep out the field and get them into the yards whenever they want to work with them. If you want to get the sheep off the hills up here, it's a 4 days of work, 4 different gathers to get the sheep off the hill. And then we've got to work with the sheep once we've got them in. And that's the easiest gather. In the summertime when the bracken is tall, it might take 6 days. Lambing time, baiting, shearing, weaning the lambs, scanning the ewes for pregnancy, and tupping time. So there's a lot of time spent just gathering sheep off the hills, and because they're high, there's a lot of days we might want to do it but the clouds are too low and we can't because we just get lost up in the hills. The sheep here are very territorial sheep. If you went out onto the hill and once the sheep go back out, you'll find the mothers there 200 or 300 yards away, the grandmother will be there, the daughter's just down the road because they go back to the same bit of ground where they were born on, and the mothers have taught them this is where to go to eat to get the right balance of minerals and vitamins and different types of herbs and grasses to eat so that they're healthy, and where also to go to get shelter. I think that's really all I want to say at the moment. If there are any questions, we will try and answer them. Either we can pick them up just now or later on. If you type them in, I'll get back to you with any details about that.
Do you still mark the cups like Bobby did so you can see them on the hill?
Yes, we still. Somebody asked that the last time too.
Oh, good.
No, we still mark tups a red mark. Traditionally, when the mating was originally, the rams were all out in the hills during December for mating time, out with the ewes, and we put a red mark right round, what you call it, skirting, really right round from the front right leg, right round to the back hind leg, right round the side of the sheep. So there's a big red band round it, and it meant if you were a mile away with binoculars, you could make sure that there was a ram running with that cut of 30 or 40 sheep that he had with him, and it was a good way of knowing where his rams were. And if a neighbour's ram came over the hill from somewhere else, it would have a different marking on it, and you knew to chase it back to where it belonged. And we still actually do it even when it's just in the fields and the hill parks. It just makes it so much quicker to count that all the rams are there, and you don't have to go and have a hard job trying to count to ensure everything's there at turning time.
But this time we now have a drone that we fly about, and we can check the fields this time. It makes it a lot quicker. We did that this year, and we just popped along all the fields to check the tucks of where they should have been, which is just an interesting thing we got in December to do a little bit of checking out in stock. And when we're out gathering is trying to look ahead, because obviously 5,000 acres. Dad covers a huge amount of area with his dirt bike. He goes a wee up the top. He does an extra few miles than all of us put together. So it's quite a good way that we can do that. There you are. Yeah, we're going to head back down. Which questions I've asked? Oh, Dawn, that's absolutely fine. You're welcome to repeat questions, and as I like to say to all of our guests in our tours of the farm, there is never a stupid question. And what's amazing is that I think we're recognising as farmers that our ordinary is your extraordinary, and it's so great that we can open up farms and welcome people all over the world to come and see how we do things, because we all certainly as farmers like to see what the farmers get up to, but also as the general public it's a really nice way to help educate. And you'll obviously see through all these amazing places that you've been all over Scotland on these tours, you'll have seen such a variety of different farmers and different farming situations. For us, all we can grow here is grass, so we kind of joke that we are grass farmers. So we also, Dad's going a little bit of chat. We're just going to pull down and explain something interesting here. Hold on. Do you want the camera flicked round?
That tree always come out of something. Right, I'll just show you something that a lot of the folk in the tours have found very interesting. This oak woodland right up this river between the two farms is actually been a managed woodland in the days way back in the 18th, 19th century. The Vale of Even, which is Alexandria down to Dumbarton area at the bottom of Lomond, there was a big leather tanning industry there, and all the oak bark from this woodland here, it was all coppiced. And if you look at that tree in front of us, and quite a lot of them, you'll see it's 2 or 3 trees growing out the one stump, and that's all because that trees were coppiced up to about 100 odd years ago, and then they've been left to grow up now. So there's most of the trees in this wood are all 3 or 4 trees growing out of one stump, and that goes back to the tanning industry and the coppicing of it way back 150, 200 years ago.
That's super. Thanks, Dad. So we, when we do our, sorry, I'm just flicking the mic, sorry if that's getting a bit irritating, we're going back and forth, but it just means that you can get to hear hopefully what we're saying. So during our live tours, when we're, when we're doing our tours with our lambing experience, our guests are getting a full tour in the back of the quad bike trailer, which you'll get to see as we get back into the yard. And Dad has a walkie-talkie, so he just talks them through some really interesting facts. And I've grown up here my whole life, and there's some really interesting things that I've just learned about the Clan Cahoon, about the different glacial moraines that are here in the farm, and all the different bits that were used maybe as the court hill, and then there was a gallows hill where they were hung after they were tried. So it was so it's not just about farm. When you come to our tours, you'll get a really great history, and because our family have been here for a long time, we've got some really great stories. Look at this, I've got an entourage following me. Hi Fern, thanks for joining us. I'm just going to pop down here. I'll just do a wee time check when we're here. 20 past, that's perfect. So we'll just go straight back to the farm. Yep, we're just going to the underpass and we'll go through. Now I think Janet had mentioned that the sound wasn't great when we were travelling by in the bike, I'll do my best to shield any of the speakers, so I do apologise if we lose you a little bit. But bear with us, we're just heading to the lambing shed with my followers. So we will lamb. Hi Tracy from France, thanks for joining us. So we lamb majority of them inside now, and there's maybe about 400 we'll maybe lamb outside, and this is one of the 2 fields you've just seen there that we will lamb outside, and we'll leave the ones that are stronger, the ones that are fitter, and the ones that are just having a single, and then anything else that we'll kind of handle the sheep at the time before we bring them into the shed, and we'll just assess them and see, do they require a little bit of extra feeding. If they're twins, we'll keep them in. Make sure nothing comes out with me, and we'll make sure that they get to come in. And we also do genetic recording, and we've been doing that since the 1980s, and we'll tag them and record all the information about the mother at that time. Thank you, Dawn, for letting me know. I'm gonna flick you around. Maybe I can flick you in. There we go. What are you saying, Dad? Yeah. So we're coming. This is a wee track that we'll use. You'll probably have seen it in one of my videos we put up. This is where you'll come on the quad bike trailer tour. This was man-made, obviously, because they put the MOD military road up behind the farm back in '86. So we got them to put in this underpass. So bear with me. We're going to go through it. It might drop signal very slightly, but please stay on. We'll catch you back. And I think we kept you there for now. Thank you for bearing with me there. We're just coming down and into the yards. This is what we would call a fank. And this is where a wee holding pen that we would bring them into. And down through our yards. And as like most farms, you've got lots of machinery for different jobs. We pretty much do everything here, and we'll maybe contract a few local boys to help us out with kind of hedges and silage. And here's our trailer. Now we take 8 in this trailer, and we say 6 adults, and that's just due to the weight. Obviously we want to make sure that we can still tow, and then we can take kids as well. Predominantly it's been a lot of kind of family tours, or actually friends. We had friends up the other day, and that's just really nice. It's a great way that we can get you round to see all of the sites. Here's Dad's bike. This is his new toy. He changed his bike. My husband Doogie's going to learn on the old bike and go up and follow Dad and learn from that generation how to get around the farm. So here we are. I'm going to quickly go over to the pet lambs. Here we are. Oh, we have a new pet lamb. Oh, here we go. We have this one here. This is Willow. This one lying down is Will. They're twins. Now actually the mother was in the other field when we were up there because she had mastitis last year. Hello. This guy's super friendly. You coming to say hi? Oh yes, a wee close up. You're so inquisitive. The customers and guests love coming to see you, don't they? So their mother had mastitis, and unfortunately her udders were not able to produce much milk this year. Must have happened after lambing time when we checked her. So unfortunately the lambs had to be taken off her, and we've been tube feeding them. Now we hope we'll still be able to twin them on. We try and make sure that all of our sheep will at least leave with 1 lamb. That's usually the plan. They are adorable, aren't they, Melanie? Oh, you're having a wee scratch and lie down. So the majority of the breed that we have is the Blackface Sheep, as you can see in here, but we do still have the odd crossy, which is a meat link cross, and they're usually sporting some really interesting hairstyles at the very front. You can see this one up close. They don't care though, they don't care. So it's much more quiet and chilled out this week. We've got some babies. We've even to the point where we can just pen them up, leave them in the pens with their mums. And these guys were both just born this morning. And if we're quite content and happy that the mothers are mothering well, we'll just leave them here at this point. Sometimes you get a bit tired of catching sheep. Sometimes they should follow you out the pen, but Blackface sheep, and more like most sheep, don't always do what they want them to do. We've got this lovely little one here. I just absolutely adore their faces, the Blackface sheep. They're just beautiful. No, we don't have any Swaledale rams. Do you use any Swaledale rams? No, it's all Blackface, and we actually breed with our own now. It's a completely closed flock with our genetic recording. So we now use the genetic information, the EVVs, and we use that information to pick the top rams. And we'll also sell a portion of our top lambs all over the UK and Ireland. A few go down to Wales as well, which is nice. Some regular guys from down there. And this sheep here, she's been gets questions about her all the time. She's quite funny. So when the sheep was unwell, so before we brought her in, she was really, really lean, and she lost a lot of condition. And then when she came into the shed, she then picked up her condition. Obviously she's looking a lot better, and at that point, when they were unwell, the wool stops growing and it checks the wool, and then when she starts to thrive again and do better, the new wool starts to grow, whereas the old wool will fall off, so it sheds. So that is the only shedding sheep that we have. There's obviously one beside her in a similar. She's about to lose her one as well. So you usually find that when sheep thrive, they might look a bit random like that, but actually that's a good sign that they're actually thriving again. But I wish actually these sheep would maybe shed themselves a bit more, because I don't know if you're aware or not, but wool actually costs us more to remove. It's obviously part of the welfare that we make sure that these fleeces are all removed in July. But it costs us more to remove the fleece, and there's not a huge price for wool now in the market due to all the synthetics and things you can buy. You know, your carpets and things and insulation, etc. is so expensive. So it's a shame that the market has gone like that, because the wool's obviously such a natural produce and organic, and will last for a very long time. Are they born with horns? They are. Have we got any good examples of horns? We had, if you missed the live tour last week, we had an absolute cracker. He is actually still currently winning the competition of the biggest horn. And we've got a wee chap here. Let's see your horn. See here, this guy. When was he born, Dad? Yesterday. The day before yesterday. You're blocking me, little sheep. Hold on a minute. Where are you gone? There he is in the back. Do you want to pick him up, Dad? We'll get a bit of a closer look, and we'll just have a look at these wee guys. So this one was just born yesterday. And if you actually just notice, every time that lamb was going in for a suck, she was kicking, moving her feet. So that would imply to me that she's needing a little bit extra watching and make sure that lamb isn't hungry, because she might be stopping it from having a wee feed. There, you've got two babies in here. She's got massive udders. I don't know if you can actually just see, so it's really hard for the lambs to suck on that. So we are actually, we strip her, we call that stripping the milk. So you're basically milking a sheep, and then we'll feed that milk back to the mum, and then eventually the lamb will get strong enough. And look at this cutie here. So here are the horns. Yep, that's not big, believe it or not. We had one, this is the size of my thumb, and that was the size of my thumb. That's how big the horns were when they came out. It was massive. And here's our wee tags. You'll have seen this before. So these are our tags. So every animal by law has to have 2 tags. That's the wee electronic one that you would beep, and that would tell us all the information. And then this one here tells us, and that just gives you obviously the number. But the colours are really important for us, because that tells us what year they are. I'm just checking if we've got any questions. Very interesting hay feeder. Yeah, this is silage. So again, we like to just do things that fit best for us, and this has been like this since I was a wee girl. And all it is just, as you would say, netting, and it services both pens. So you're actually doing less work. You're just having to feed the one trough of hay, and that's fine. And if there's our water system, which got We got a lot of messages about after the tour last year. So it's just a sewer pipe. It's the same sewer pipe that we use every single year, and it sits so each sheep can both drink from both sides. The only thing you have to do is sometimes clean out the silage that they've dropped in, and that feeds into the main pipe along the side, and that runs down both sides of the shed, so the sheep can just go and take water when they need it, and we are not having to constantly fill buckets. And it's also better for the hygiene of the sheep. We're not having to worry about having to clean out anything else out of them. So green this year is for a Gimmer. I don't know if anyone said that before. So Gimmer is a first time lammer. So she's just 2 years old. And the reason we have these massive flag tags, they're cattle tags actually. They're meant to be a bit smaller, but they seem to send us the wrong ones last year, so they're very big. That's the recorded ewes, and that's just for ours, so we can see they are recorded, and their lambs obviously are all marked at the same time. They love their silage, so they get silage all the time. They'll be sitting here all day with silage, but we also give them a bit of extra cake feeding, which is just the pellets that we'll give them. Great feeding and watering system, thank you. It's something Dad spent a lot of time over in New Zealand and Australia with young farmers, and he did a lot of research, and he managed to implement a lot of changes when it was his time to come and take over the farm. And that's a big part of what we do here is you want to make it that little bit better for the next generation. So for Dad, he's obviously brought in the genetic recording and has improved the flock that we have here, and it's now to the point where we've now increased it 8 kilos.
8 kilos of live weight on that.
8 kilos the live weight of the animal now since we've been doing it, with less input from us and less interference from us. So that's obviously a really good point. For me, hopefully I'm going to be able to, and my husband and Mum and Dad will be working together to get our new Bonnie Barns up and running, which opened in September last year. And that for us is making a big part of the diversification, is to make sure that we can still be here in the generations to come, and hopefully we will improve that side of the business so that can hopefully hand on to the next generation. So for us, farm diversification is a really vital point for us, and we couldn't do what we do without it now. It gives us all a part. Now I'll just check questions, because that's us pretty much coming up for time. Here's me thinking we didn't have much to talk about, but I haven't shut up the whole time. They are very all happy and content. You're absolutely right. So we're going to be signing off in a wee minute, but I'm just going to go back up to the pet lamb pen, because you're most welcome. Thanks, Terence. You're awful noisy. This is this new one. He had to come off his mother. We just found him in the field the other day without a mother. Just this morning. So we're going to go back. Oh, you're getting a bit skippy. Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I'm just going to flick you back. Thank you so much for joining us again on our second tour. So please tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. You're going to go to Boutique Farm Bothy's in Aberdeenshire to Jane Foden family. So thank you once again, and we'll hopefully see you live here one day on our farm. We'd love to have you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.